I found a hotel receipt by accident. My wife said she was at a work meeting that night. The receipt told a different story. Deluxe suite, 2 dinners, a bottle of wine, and a name I'd never heard before. Peterson B. That's when I stopped being the good husband and became something else. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just started planning. 20 years of marriage, 2 kids, and she had no idea what was coming. By the time she figured it out, I was already gone. My name is Christopher Lawson. Chris to most folks. I'm 48 years old, and for the past 23 years, I've been fixing things. Broken boilers, busted pipes, faulty wiring in commercial buildings across 3 counties. I work for Davidson Property Management, one of the biggest in the state. It's honest work, the kind that leave you tired at the end of the day, but satisfied, knowing you kept offices warm, kept businesses running. I've always been a guy who fixes things, who solves problems. Never thought I'd face when I couldn't fix with my hands in a toolbox. I married Melissa 20 years ago. Met her at a buddy's barbecue. She was a nurse back then, working nights at County General. Pretty smile, sharp wit, and this way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room. We had our first kid, Lucas, a year later. He's 14 now, smart as a whip, plays baseball, and has his mother's stubborn streak. Then came Olivia, 12 years old, sweet as sugar but tough when she needs to be. She's got my eyes and her mother's determination. For years, everything felt solid. We had routines, traditions, Sunday dinners, summer camping trips, Friday movie nights. Melissa eventually moved from nursing to office management at a medical clinic downtown. Better hours, she said. More time with the kids. I believed her. I believed everything. It started 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday evening. I came home late from a job at the Riverside office complex. Burst pipe on the 4th floor. Took me 6 hours to sort out. I was beat, covered in grime, wanting nothing more than a hot shower and whatever leftovers were in the fridge. The house was quiet. Lucas was upstairs doing homework. Olivia was at her friend's place for a sleepover. Melissa was in the living room, curled up on the couch with her laptop, half watching some reality show. I headed upstairs, stripped off my work clothes, and stepped into the shower. The hot water felt like heaven on my sore shoulders. When I got out, I noticed Melissa's purse sitting on her dresser. It had tipped over, and some contents had spilled out: keys, lip balm, receipts. I started picking things up, not snooping, just tidying. That's when I saw it. A receipt from the Grandview Inn. High-end place about 40 minutes outside town, up in the hills. The kind of spot where anniversaries happen, where couples go to get away. The date on it was from 2 weeks ago, a Thursday. Melissa had told me she was working late that night, some staff meeting that ran long. She'd gotten home around 11, apologized for missing dinner, kissed my cheek, and gone straight to bed. The receipt showed 2 charges. Dinner for 2 at their restaurant, a bottle of wine, and a room. Deluxe King Suite. My hands went still. I read it again, hoping I'd misunderstood. But there it was, clear as day. The name on the credit card authorization was hers. And at the bottom, in small print, a guest name, Peterson B. I didn't know any Peterson. She'd never mentioned that name. I stood there in my bathroom, dripping water onto the tile floor, staring at that receipt like it might suddenly explain itself. My mind raced through possibilities. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe she'd helped a coworker book a room, used her card as a favor. Maybe Peterson was a vendor, a supplier, someone from the clinic. Maybe I was jumping to conclusions. But my gut knew better. 20 years of marriage teaches you things. You learn the rhythm of your spouse, the patterns, the tells. And something about this felt wrong, like a pipe that's been leaking behind the walls for months before you finally see the damage. I heard footsteps on the stairs. Melissa was coming up. I quickly stuffed the receipt into my jeans pocket, threw on a t-shirt, and walked out of the bathroom, trying to look normal. "Hey," she said, appearing in the doorway. "You okay? You look pale. Just tired," I replied, forcing a smile. "Long day." She nodded, already turning her attention back to her phone. "Lucas needs help with his history project. Something about the Civil War. Can you check on him?" "Yeah, sure." I went down the hall to Lucas's room. My son sat at his desk, surrounded by books and printed articles, his laptop open to some documentary video. "Dad, check this out," Lucas said without looking up. "Did you know that more Americans died in the Civil War than in World War I and World War II combined?" "I did not know that," I said, trying to focus. That's pretty heavy, bud. He finally looked at me. You good? You seem distracted. Smart kid. Too smart sometimes. Just work stuff. I told him. Nothing for you to worry about. Show me what you got so far. We spent the next hour working on his project, and it helped calm my spinning thoughts. But the receipt burned in my pocket like a lit match. After I said goodnight to Lucas and checked that Melissa was in bed, I went back downstairs. I sat at the kitchen table with my phone and did something I'd never done before. I looked up the Grandview's website. Luxury accommodations. Romantic getaways. Starting at $300 a night. The deluxe king suite went for $450. I opened our joint bank account on my phone and scrolled back 2 weeks. There was a charge for $473 to the Grandview Inn. Same date as the receipt. I'd seen it before but hadn't paid attention. Money came and went. We both had access. I trusted her. I sat there in the dark kitchen, the only light coming from my phone screen, and felt something shift inside me. This wasn't nothing. This wasn't a mistake or a misunderstanding. This was real. The next morning, I waited until Melissa left for work and the kids were at school. Then I called my best friend, Jason Turner. We'd known each other since high school, worked construction together in our 20s before I went into property management. He'd been my best man, was Lucas's godfather. If there was anyone I could trust with this, it was him. Jason, I said when he picked up, I need to talk. Can you meet me for coffee? Sure, man. Everything all right? You sound off. Just meet me at Riverside Diner. Half an hour. I'll be there. Jason was already waiting at Riverside Diner when I pulled up. He sat in a corner booth, coffee in front of him, looking concerned. I slid in across from him and got straight to it. Melissa's cheating on me, I said quietly. His face hardened. You sure? I pulled out the receipt and showed him. Then I pulled up the bank statement on my phone. Jason studied both, his jaw tightening. Peterson, he muttered. You know who that is? No idea. Never heard her mention the name. Jason leaned back, running a hand through his hair. What do you want to do? I need proof. Real proof. Not just a receipt and a gut feeling. If this goes to court, if I'm fighting for my kids, I need everything documented. Smart, Jason said, nodding. You thinking, lawyer? Eventually. But first, I need to know what I'm dealing with. How long this has been going on. Who this guy is. Everything. Jason pulled out his phone. My cousin's a private investigator up in Newton County. Does corporate stuff mostly, but he handles domestic cases too. Guy's discreet, thorough. Want me to call him? Yeah, set it up. We spent the next hour mapping it out. Jason would contact his cousin. I'd keep track of Melissa's schedule. Note every late night, every unexplained absence. I'd be careful, methodical. No confrontations yet. No tipping my hand. You good, man? Jason asked as we stood to leave. This is heavy stuff. I'm handling it. I told him. I have to. For Lucas and Olivia. That night at dinner, I watched Melissa cross the table. She was laughing at something Olivia said, helping Lucas with his geometry homework between bites of chicken. She looked so normal, so much like the woman I married. It made my chest ache. After the kids went to bed, she came up behind me while I was loading the dishwasher and wrapped her arms around my waist. You've been quiet tonight, she said softly. Just tired. Big project at Riverside Complex. She kissed my shoulder. Well, don't stay up too late. You need rest. I nodded, not trusting my voice. 2 days later, I met with Jason's cousin, Dale Pritchard. He was mid-50s, ex-cop, built like someone who still hit the gym regularly. We met at his office in Newton, a small second-floor space above a hardware store. Jason filled me in on the basics, Dale said, shaking my hand. Sorry you're going through this. Thanks. What do you need from me? Everything you've got. Her schedule, the receipt, bank statements, any names or locations. I'll do surveillance, document her movements, get photos if necessary. My rate is $100 an hour plus expenses. That's fine. Whatever it takes. I handed him copies of everything. He studied the receipt carefully. Peterson, he said, you run that name through social media? Workplace connections? Not yet. Do it. Might be a vendor, colleague, someone connected her clinic. People leave digital footprints everywhere these days. That evening, I sat in my truck in the parking lot of a job site and searched Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. After 20 minutes, I found him. Brad Peterson, 42 years old, sales representative for Greystone Medical Supply. His LinkedIn showed he worked with dental and medical clinics across the region. He was handsome in that polished way. Clean cut, expensive suits in his photos, bright smile. His Facebook was mostly private, but his profile picture showed him at some work conference, arm around a colleague. I stared at his face for a long time. This was the man my wife was meeting in hotels. This was who she chose over 20 years of marriage, over our family. I saved screenshots of everything and sent them to Dale. Then I drove home and kissed my kids goodnight like nothing was wrong. Dale worked fast. Within a week, he had a file 3 inches thick. Photos, timestamps, surveillance logs. He laid it all out on his desk while I sat across from him, my stomach in knots. Your wife meets Peterson every Thursday evening, Dale said, sliding a series of photos toward me. They vary the location. Different hotels, always within a 40-minute radius. She leaves the clinic around 6, drives straight to wherever they're meeting. He arrives separately, usually 15 minutes after her. I look at the photos. Melissa getting out of her car at the Grandview Inn. Another of her at Cedar Ridge Hotel. Another at Pineview Lodge. In each one, Brad Peterson appeared shortly after, walking through the same entrance. They stay an average of 3 hours, Dale continued. Sometimes they eat dinner at the hotel restaurant first. Sometimes they go straight to the room. How long has this been going on? My voice came out rougher than I intended. Dale flipped through his notes. Based on credit card records you provided and what I've observed, at least 6 months. Probably longer. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Of her kissing me goodnight after spending the evening with someone else. There's more, Dale said, his expression grim. Peterson's married. Wife's name is Janet Peterson. They have 2 kids, ages 8 and 10. He lives in Brookfield, about 30 miles east of here. Something clicked in my mind. Does his wife know? Not as far as I can tell. But that's your call, not mine. I just gather the facts. I took the file and paid Dale his fee in cash. Thanks for your help. Sorry it turned out this way, he said, shaking my hand. For what it's worth, you've got everything you need for court. Good luck. That evening, I sat in my truck outside Janet Peterson's address. It was a nice suburban house, tidy lawn, basketball hoop in the driveway. I watched through the front window as she moved around the kitchen, making dinner. 2 kids ran past, laughing. A normal family, just like mine used to be. I made a decision then. Janet deserved to know. She deserved the same truth I'd been hunting for. I got out my truck and walked to the front door. Rang the bell. A moment later, a blonde woman in her late 30s answered. Can I help you? She asked, polite but cautious. Mrs. Peterson? My name is Chris Lawson. I think we need to talk about your husband, Brad. Her face paled slightly. I don't understand. He's been having an affair with my wife for the past 6 months. I have proof. Can I come in? She stared at me for a long moment, then stepped aside. We sat at her kitchen table. I showed her everything. The photos, the hotel receipts, the timeline. She didn't cry, didn't yell. She just sat there, absorbing it all with this terrible calm. I suspected something, she finally said, her voice hollow. He's been distant, always working late. But I told myself I was being paranoid. I did the same thing, I admitted. She looked at me, and there was steel in her eyes. What are you going to do? Divorce her. Get custody of my kids. Make sure she loses everything that matters. Janet nodded slowly. I want to help. Whatever you need. He doesn't get to destroy this family and walk away clean. Neither does she, I said. We shook hands. An alliance forged in betrayal. Living with Melissa became its own kind of torture. Every smile felt like a knife. Every casual touch a betrayal. But I kept my face neutral, played the part of the unsuspecting husband. I had to. Not yet. Not until everything was in place. Lucas noticed first. We were in the garage on a Saturday afternoon, working on his bike. The chain had slipped, and I was showing him how to fix it. Dad, can I ask you something? He said, wiping grease from his hands. Sure, bud. Are you and Mom okay? You guys seem off. I looked at my son, 14 years old, and already too perceptive for his own good. I couldn't lie to him, but I couldn't tell him everything either. We're working through some stuff, I said carefully. Adult stuff. Nothing for you to worry about. But I do worry. Olivia does too. She asked me last night if you and Mom are getting divorced. That hit me harder than I expected. I set down my wrench and faced him directly. Lucas, I need you to listen. Whatever happens between your mom and me, you and Olivia are my priority. Always. I will never let anything hurt you too. Understand? He nodded, but I could see the fear in his eyes. Is it bad? It's complicated, but I'm handling it. I promise. That night, Jason came over with beer and takeout Chinese food. We sat on the back porch while Melissa took the kids to a movie. I made sure she was occupied. Got the lawyer lined up, Jason said, pulling out his phone. Her name's Catherine Reynolds. She's tough, been doing family law for 15 years. Won't take any garbage from the other side. Good. When can I meet her? Monday afternoon. I already set it up. 2 o'clock at her office. He paused. You ready for this, Chris? Once you pull this trigger, there's no going back. I've been ready since I found that receipt. Jason nodded. What about the kids? That's what keeps me up at night. But I'd rather they see me fight for them than watch me pretend everything's fine while their mother destroys this family. Monday came. Catherine Reynolds' office was downtown on the 5th floor of an older building. She was mid-40s, sharp suit, even sharper eyes. We shook hands, and she gestured to a chair. Jason tells me you need representation, she said, getting straight to business. Tell me what's going on. I laid out everything. The affair, the evidence, Dale's investigation, my conversation with Janet Peterson. Catherine took notes, asking pointed questions. This is solid, she said when I finished. With this evidence, you'll get primary custody. The affair works heavily in your favor, especially with the kids' ages. Courts don't like parents who prioritize affairs over family. What about assets? The house is in both names. Yes, but I've been paying the mortgage for 20 years. Her income goes to household expenses, but the property payments are all mine. We'll argue for you to keep the house. She'll get some financial settlement, but given the circumstances, it won't be 50-50. I lean forward. I want this done clean. I don't want to drag my kids through a war. Catherine's expression softened slightly. I understand, but be prepared. When she realizes what's happening, she may fight dirty. People do when they're cornered. Let her try. 2 weeks later, Melissa told me she had a business conference in Atlanta. 3 days, medical office management seminar. She showed me the itinerary, hotel confirmation. Everything looked legitimate. It'll be good for the clinic, she said, packing her suitcase. Networking, new management techniques. Might even lead to a promotion. Sounds great, I said, watching her fold clothes into neat stacks. She kissed me before leaving. Take care of the kids. Lucas has baseball practice Wednesday. Olivia has her art class Thursday. I've got it covered. I watched her drive away, saw her car disappear down the street. Then I turned to Jason, who was waiting in his truck down the block. She's gone. I texted. I'm coming over. For the next 6 hours, we worked like men possessed. I'd already moved most of my important stuff to the storage unit I'd rented under my name only. My tools, photo albums, my grandfather's watch, documents, everything with real value. Now we clear the rest. Clothes, shoes, my side of the bathroom. All of it went into boxes and bags. Jason's truck made 3 trips to the storage unit. We worked in silence, mostly efficient, methodical. You sure about this? Jason asked during the second trip. This is Cole, man. She's been lying to my face for 6 months. She doesn't get a warm goodbye. By evening, my presence in that house had been erased. No razor in the bathroom, no coffee mug in the cabinet, no work boots by the door. It looked like I'd never existed there. The hardest part was the kids. Lucas and Olivia were at their grandmother's house, Melissa's mom, for the week. I'd arranged it carefully, told them I had a big project at work and needed to focus. They'd be back Friday, the same day Melissa returned. But they wouldn't come back to the same house. I left the divorce papers on the kitchen table, filed and ready. Next to them, a thick envelope with copies of all the evidence. Photos, hotel receipts, Dale's investigation report, bank statements. Everything. I also left a letter. Not an apology, not an explanation, just facts. Melissa, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. You've been having an affair with Brad Peterson for at least 6 months. I have proof of everything. The divorce papers are filed. My lawyer will contact you. The kids will stay with me. You made your choice. Now live with it. Chris. Jason helped me load the last boxes into my truck. Where you headed? Apartment I rented across town. 2-bedroom. It's small but clean. Got furniture coming tomorrow. And the kids. I'll pick them up Friday. Take them to the new place. Explain everything in a way they can handle. Jason gripped my shoulder. You're doing the right thing, brother. Those kids need stability. They need a parent who doesn't lie. I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. That night, I slept in my new apartment. It was quiet, empty, but it was honest. No more pretending. No more lies. When Melissa came home Friday afternoon and walked into that empty house, when she read that letter and saw those photos, her world would shatter. Just like mine had 6 weeks ago. Melissa's flight landed Friday at 4 in the afternoon. I know because Janet Peterson texted me. We'd been coordinating, keeping each other informed. She'd confronted Brad 2 days earlier, and according to her, he'd broken down completely. He's staying at his brother's place. Her text read, Lawyer's been contacted. I'm taking everything. Good, I replied. Stay strong. I was at my new apartment when my phone started buzzing. Melissa. I let it ring through to voicemail. Then she called again, and again, 12 times in 20 minutes. Then the text started. Chris, where are you? The house is empty. What's going on? Please call me. I'm scared. I found the papers. We need to talk. This is insane. You can't just leave like this. I read each one without responding. Jason sat across from me, watching. Cold, man, he said, shaking his head, but effective. My phone rang again. This time it was Lucas calling from his grandmother's house. Dad, Mom just called Grandma crying. She says you left. What's happening? I closed my eyes, steadying myself. This was the part I've been dreading. Lucas, I need you to listen carefully. Your mom and I are getting divorced. I found out she's been lying to us, to the whole family. I had to leave. Lying about what? Adult stuff. I'll explain everything when I see you tomorrow. But right now, I need you to know that you and Olivia are safe. I'm not going anywhere. I've got a new place set up for us. Are we going to live with you? Yes. I'm picking you both up tomorrow morning. We'll talk then, okay? There was a long pause. Okay, Dad. Is Mom going to be all right? That question gutted me. Even now, my son was worried about her. Your mom made some choices, Lucas. She'll have to deal with the consequences. But that's not your responsibility. You focus on school, baseball, being a kid. Let me handle the adult problems. All right. Love you, Dad. Love you too, son. Saturday morning came. I drove to Melissa's mother's house to pick up the kids. Lucas met me at the door, his face serious beyond his years. Olivia stood behind him, clutching her backpack. Hey, kiddo, I said, kneeling down to Olivia's level. You ready to see our new place? Is it nice? She asked quietly. It's got a backyard in your own room. I think you'll like it. During the drive, I explained everything as simply as I could. Their mother had been seeing someone else. I'd found out and decided we couldn't stay together. But I wanted them to know this wasn't their fault. Nothing that had caused this. Lucas stared out the window, processing. Olivia cried quietly in the back seat. Can we still see Mom? Olivia asked. Of course. She's still your mother. This is between her and me, not you kids. The new apartment felt smaller with them in it, but it was home. Lucas checked out his room, nodded approval at the baseball posters I'd hung. Olivia arranged her stuffed animals on her bed carefully. That evening, Melissa showed up. I'd been expecting it. She knocked hard, then rang the doorbell repeatedly. I opened the door but stood in the frame, blocking entry. What do you want? She looked terrible. Red eyes, hair disheveled, still wearing the same clothes from her flight. We need to talk, Chris. Please. You can't just throw away 20 years. I'm not throwing anything away. You already did that. It was a mistake. A stupid, terrible mistake. But we can fix this. No, Melissa. We can't. Melissa's face contorted. You won't even let me explain? Explain what? 6 months of hotels with Brad Peterson? The lies? I know everything, Melissa. I have photos, receipts, a full investigation report. There's nothing to explain. She went pale. You hired someone to follow me. I did what I had to do. You want to know the really pathetic part? His wife didn't know either. Janet Peterson. Nice woman. 2 kids. I had to tell her that her husband was spending their money on hotels with you. Melissa stumbled back like I'd hit her. You told his wife. She deserved to know. Just like I deserve to know. Chris, please. Tears streamed down her face. I love you. I made a horrible mistake, but I love you. We have kids together. We have a life. Had a life. Past tense. You destroyed it the first time you checked into a hotel with him. It's over with Brad. I ended it. I swear. I don't care. It doesn't matter if it's over. The damage is done. Lucas appeared behind me in the hallway. Dad, everything okay? Melissa saw him and her expression shattered. Lucas, baby. Lucas's face was hard. I heard everything, Mom. I heard Dad on the phone with Jason. I know what you did. My son, 14 years old, looked at his mother with something close to contempt. Lucas, please try to understand. Understand what? That you lied to us? That you chose some other guy over Dad, over us? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Lucas shot back, his voice rising. Because from where I'm standing, you lied every single day. You looked us in the face and lied. I put a hand on Lucas's shoulder. Go check on your sister, son. I've got this. He hesitated, then nodded and walked away. Melissa watched him go, sobbing openly. My kids hate me. Your kids are hurt. There's a difference. But that's on you to fix, not me. Chris, I'm begging you. Give me another chance. For them. For our family. I looked at the woman I'd spent 20 years with. Once upon a time, she'd been everything to me. Now she was just someone who'd made choices I couldn't forgive. The divorce papers are filed. Melissa, my lawyer will be in contact about custody arrangements. You can see the kids, but it'll be scheduled and supervised initially. Supervised? You think I'd hurt them? I think you've already hurt them enough. Now get off my property. This isn't over, Chris. Yes, it is. You just haven't accepted it yet. She stood there for a long moment, then turned and walked to her car. I watched her drive away, then closed the door and locked it. Lucas was sitting on the couch when I came back in. You okay, Dad? I will be. We all will be. Good. Because I meant what I said. What she did was wrong. I sat beside him. I know, son. But she's still your mother. Eventually, you'll need to find a way to forgive her for your own peace. Maybe. But not today. Not today, I agreed. That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat in my small living room and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Relief. The secret was out. The lies were exposed. Whatever came next, at least it would be honest. My phone buzzed. A text from Catherine Reynolds, my lawyer. Her attorney made contact. They want to negotiate. Meeting set for Tuesday. Be ready. I texted back. I'm ready. Let's finish this. 8 months passed like water under a bridge. The divorce went through faster than expected. Catherine had been right. With the evidence we presented, the affair documented in painful detail, Melissa didn't have a leg to stand on. I got primary custody of Lucas and Olivia. She got supervised visitation every other weekend and Wednesday evenings. The house sold. We split the proceeds, though I walked away with more given my documented contributions. She moved into a small apartment across town. Last I heard, she'd lost her job at the clinic. Too many people knew about the affair. Small towns have long memories. Brad Peterson didn't fare much better. Janet took him to the cleaners in their divorce. Lost his job when his company discovered he'd been claiming personal expenses as business costs. Last Jason heard, Brad was living with his brother and working retail. As for me, I took the plunge I've been thinking about for years. Used my share of the house sale and open Lawson Property Services. Commercial building maintenance and repair. Just me and 2 guys I worked with at Davidson. We landed 3 contracts in the first month. By month 6, we had a waiting list. Lucas was doing better. His grades improved. Baseball season went well. He'd started seeing a counselor to work through his feelings about his mother. Progress was slow, but it was happening. Olivia struggled more. She was quieter, drew pictures of fractured families and broken houses. But she warmed up to our new routine. Movie nights, Sunday pancakes, just the 3 of us finding our rhythm. And then there was Catherine. Catherine Reynolds, my lawyer. After the divorce finalized, she called to check in, see how I was managing. We met for coffee, then dinner, then regular Friday nights when the kids were at their mother's. She was easy to talk to, understood what I'd been through in ways most people couldn't. She'd been divorced herself 5 years back. No kids, but she knew betrayal, knew what it meant to rebuild. One evening, we were at her place. The kids were with Melissa for the weekend. Catherine cooked dinner while I told her about landing a new contract with a hospital complex. You've really built something, she said, setting plates on the table. Most people would still be licking their wounds. Sitting around feeling sorry for myself wasn't going to change anything. Had to move forward. That's what I admire about you, Chris. You didn't let it break you. After dinner, we sat on her porch. It was late summer, warm evening, crickets singing in the yard. Can I ask you something? Catherine said. Shoot. Are we doing this? Really doing this? I looked at her. Smart, strong, honest. Everything Melissa hadn't been. Yeah, I said. I think we are. She smiled. Good, because I'm all in. 2 weeks later, Melissa showed up at my apartment unannounced. It was a Saturday morning. Catherine had stayed over. She was in the kitchen making coffee when the doorbell rang. I opened it. Melissa stood there, looking thinner, tired. She saw Catherine behind me, and her face fell. So it's true, Melissa said quietly. You've moved on. What did you expect, Melissa? I don't know. I guess I thought maybe, eventually, we could try again. That was never going to happen. She looked past me at Catherine, who stood in the doorway holding 2 coffee mugs. Is she the reason you left? No, you're the reason I left. Catherine's the reason I'm happy now. There's a difference. Melissa's eyes filled with tears. I lost everything. My marriage, my kids, my job. My own parents barely talk to me. And you've got a new business, a new woman, everything. You made choices, Melissa. Consequences followed. That's how life works. Don't I deserve a second chance? Don't we all make mistakes? Catherine stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill or saying something careless. What you did was calculated, repeated, deliberate. Chris gave you 20 years of loyalty. You gave him lies. This isn't about second chances. This is about him building a life with people who value honesty. Melissa looked at Catherine, then back at me. I loved you, Chris. Maybe you did, but not enough to stay faithful. Not enough to be honest. And that's something I can't forget or forgive. She nodded slowly, wiping her eyes. I guess this is really goodbye. Yeah, it is. She walked back to her car. I watched her drive away one last time. Catherine touched my arm. You okay? Better than okay. For the first time in a long time, I'm exactly where I need to be. The months rolled on. Loss and property services grew. We hired 2 more guys, expanded to residential work. Lucas got accepted to a summer baseball camp. Olivia joined an art program at the community center. They were healing slowly but surely. My relationship with Catherine deepened. She met the kids officially, kept appropriate boundaries, never tried to replace their mother, just became someone steady in their lives, someone trustworthy. 1 year after I found that receipt, I stood in the office of my new business. Framed contracts on the wall, 3 trucks parked outside with my company logo, a full schedule for the next 2 months. I'd built this from nothing, from the wreckage of a broken marriage. Jason stopped by that afternoon, carrying a 6-pack. Congratulations, man. You did it. Did what? Came out the other side. Most guys would still be bitter, angry, stuck. You built a whole new life. Had to. For Lucas and Olivia. For myself. And Catherine. I smiled. Yeah, and Catherine. That evening, I picked up the kids from Melissa's supervised visit. They climbed into my truck, chattering about their weekend plans. Dad, can Catherine come to my game next week? Lucas asked. If she's free, I'm sure she'd love to. Cool. She's pretty awesome. Olivia piped up from the back seat. Can we have pancakes tomorrow? Catherine makes them better than you. Hey now, I protested, grinning. Those are fighting words. We drove home through familiar streets. 3 people rebuilding a family that looked nothing like before, but felt more solid than anything I'd had in years. Melissa had destroyed what we had, but in doing so, she'd freed me to build something better, something honest, something worth keeping. That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat on my porch and thought about everything that had changed. The betrayal had nearly destroyed me, but I'd survived. More than that, I'd thrived. Sometimes the hardest thing becomes the best thing. You just have to be willing to walk through the fire to get to the other side. I'd walked through it, and now I was finally home.